All right, good evening, folks. I have 7 o'clock Eastern time, so we'll go ahead and get started. Um, I guess two things. One, you should be able to hear my voice, but two, you should be able to see uh, our Canvas screen. My screen is what you should be able to see. If you can hear my voice and can see my screen, if you could just in the chat box give me a yes or a thumbs up or something, please. All right, great. So, Um, typically what I do for this course is, we meet twice. We meet the first night that we already did, and then somewhere around midway through the course, um, I scheduled this day a couple weeks ago, not realizing obviously that uh, everything as we know it would be dumped on its head here. So it's probably a good time that we meet anyway. Not a ton of changes with all this coronavirus stuff going on for our class, but obviously education, as everything is distance learning, and public and private schools uh, are all changing, all that too. So Um, all right, so this will be a short class meeting. I am recording this. I'll post this recording either tonight or in the morning if you ever need to watch it again. But all right, so I'm scrolling down to week three, and week three technically ends today. So tonight you have an HR quiz, a reflective paper, and a discussion board forum. The discussion boards and the papers and stuff, you guys have been doing just fine on those. Expectations have been met. You're fulfilling everything that's needed. Um, Doing fine. The HR quiz, remember, I'm gonna be real easy on you when I grade it. You can tell it's not on your screen, but it will be soon. The HR quiz with answers. Once everybody has submitted that, and I've had a chance to look at it, I will make that link live, and you'll be able to see, all the answers and all that type of stuff too. Remember, the biggest thing for that HR quiz is the process is, I would say, equally or even more important than the outcome. Meaning, you being forced to spend the time to have to look things up a little bit is the biggest thing I'm going through, because you're going to find as an administrator that um, you're going to have to spend time looking things up sometimes, and being able to figure out how to navigate through some of the laws and different stuff like that is going to be important. Sometimes it's not knowing um, what the answer is, but you know where you can find it. Okay. All right. So moving down, week four, again, another paper, a discussion board. Week five, another reflective paper, discussion board. Likewise for week six. Okay, so you'll notice that weeks 1 through 6, for the most part, the routine is the same. Okay, uh, a week starts on a Thursday. I'm sorry, a week starts on a Wednesday. Actually, I think I was right the first time. Starts on a Thursday, ends on a Wednesday. So basically, everything has been due on Wednesdays. Okay, been due on Wednesdays. I try to grade it on Thursday or Friday. Okay, the weeks will continue to open up a day or two before. Technically, the um, week four, it doesn't start until tomorrow. It's already live and open. You're able to look at it, start working on reflective paper and your discussion board and all that. Okay. All right. So with all that being said, and this is usually, I just make sure everybody has the routine down. I would provide some feedback if some people aren't doing things up to expectations. I would address that. But the biggest two things then, after we get done with that, for tonight was, one, I wanted to talk about our field experience hours, and two, kind of our anchor assessment, our culminating project. All right, so you guys can't see it yet, but I am going to make it available for everybody here very soon. Is the anchor assessment. All right, so the anchor assessment's listed under week 7. Um, pull up this document here, kind of show it for everybody, and then I'll make it available for people to start work on it. Again, it's worth 50 points. All right, you're going to need to work with your administration to complete a lot of this, because a lot of these things, again, I don't expect you to reinvent the wheel. I don't expect everybody to reinvent something that you may already have that's out there. You might just have to be more familiar with it and share it. Number one. And number two, this anchor assessment doesn't matter when you take the course, who teaches this course. When you take the human resource class, EDA 602, everybody gets this same exact scenario. So I didn't come up with this scenario, although I don't think it's a bad assignment. It's just kind of being transparent about that everybody does it. So scenarios, today is July the 2nd. You were hired as the principal July the 1st. All right. As you were going through materials on your desk and beginning your plan for your to-do list, you realized that you have vacancies to fill prior to August 1st. In fact, you still need to fill 20% of the teaching positions. Okay, so basically, you just got hired in early July. You have about a month to fill 20% of your teaching positions. So one, describe the process you will use to hire the needed teachers within 3 weeks so they may attend a school professional development session, which is scheduled 1 week prior to the start of school. Reflect on what you had to do in a short amount of time to hire the staff and include recommendations of what you would change prior to that further recruitment and selection process. So in layman's terms, what are all the things you need to do? Develop a plan. You have to get the job posted. Okay, well, how do you post that? What's the regulations say on posting things? What's the law in Kentucky say? What's your local policy say? Number two, you posted. You want to leave it posted for a little while to get some possible applicants. Are you going to screen them? You're going to check references. You're going to set up interviews. Who has to be on the interview? Do you have a site-based decision-making council bylaw that determines all that stuff? Once you go through all that, how are you going to make your selection? What interview questions are you going to ask? All those things. You have to consult site-based. You have to recommend them for employment to the superintendent. All those things, you need to develop a plan for executing all those things in a timely manner. Number two, design a plan for implementing a teacher induction program for your school if you decide that one currently in place is insufficient, or discuss how you can enhance the current program. The plan will be shared and feedback received. So basically, this is kind of one of those induction programs. Now that after you make the selection, what processes and resources are you going to have in place to provide that teacher have success their first year with you? All right, mentor teachers, resources, meetings for them the opportunity to comfortably ask questions, get feedback regularly on lesson plans, or just somebody to ask all the silly questions that we all had our first time teaching and things like that. Okay, that's be a first year teacher or a first year teacher to your district. Lastly, number three, suggest ways to plan for staff support, including technology, which will increase retention rates and improve the process for developing and supporting staff. All right, so number three then, basically, after you go through all this, what are some ways that you can think of to help with some things you might put in place to help support staff, specifically technology? All right, ways to help staff be more efficient at their jobs and all that. So what would I go from here? I know that we're working in a different times, so to speak, with all this the changes in education with coronavirus stuff going around and things like that. But I would try to set up a phone call, a meeting, something with administration, and basically, what are all the things, all the steps that we do from one, job openings and getting them posted and waiting a number of days and applicants and all those steps all the way up to, okay, we recommended them to the superintendent to be hired. and induction programs, all that. That's what I would do if I were you over the next couple days. Get my ducks in a row and do that. How does that have to be, how it's formatted or a length or any of that stuff, that is up to you. For me, I'm looking more quality as opposed to quantity here. All right. I just want it to be a clean, thorough, detailed plan. Reference, any bylaws that you might have or law for different things like that um, would be my recommendation. Kind of go from there. I'll take questions from people. All you do is email me. If we need to set up a phone call, we need to set up an individual Zoom meeting, whatever, I'm willing to do that. But that's the culminating project. All right, looks like somebody asked a question here. Let me click over to it. As far as hours are concerned, how should we proceed with those? We are working remotely at home and all. All right, I'm getting to that here in just a second, Nick. Good question. I plan on addressing that before we get off here. All right, so that's the anchor assessment. Again, I am going to make this available. I'm going to go back to modules here. I'll make this available. Remember, all this is due week 7. Okay, I'm going to open up a couple of the items on week 7 for you guys. That way you can start looking at those things. Okay, just like Nick had there. If you have questions, feel free to ask them. All right, next is hold on, guys. I'm reading something real quick. Okay, so one of you all asked about, let's look at week 4. So week 4, just make sure we have the routine down. All right, I'm getting ready to talk about the field experience hours, but week 4 info. So for week 4, I'm asking you guys to, think of a couple key questions, watch a couple videos, and at the bottom there, read a couple sources. Okay? Read a couple sources. So when I go back to week 4, all right, look at the reflective paper. I'm asking you guys to, based on a couple of these, all right, so for the reflective paper for week 4, watch the keynote and write a reflection on your 3 big takeaways for cultivating a culture of excellence. So that's the paper part of it that I'm expecting you to do, that you will do on your own. Respond to me individually. Okay? Respond to me individually on that one. Likewise, number 4, if I go to the discussion forum, here you're just kind of you're asked to do something a little bit differently on this one, though. So I hope I've been explaining this well for people. Of some of the things that you asked to watch or to read that certain week, you might have asked to do anything with. But for this discussion forum here, is take a school climate survey and share your results. As I read that, it's probably going to be pretty difficult for you guys right now. So I guess, I'll give a little latitude here of, just kind of an informal survey or informal pulse of your building. What do you think the good and the bad's going on right now? Would you make any changes on what's going on right now? And obviously it could be pertinent to what's going on in our world right now. I'm not sharing this with anybody, but what are some things that maybe you would do? Are there some things that you would do differently on the way that your school or your district is executing things right now? Would you do anything differently? That's the biggest thing. I think the biggest topic for this one is the biggest takeaway from this week would be, just reflecting on on the current status of way things are going on. Typically, I would have asked you to do some sort of informal or even formal survey for this discussion board, but hopefully that helps a little bit of clarification for everybody. All right, so now to the important topic I think for a few of you is this field experience hours. Guys, I got an email from the administration at Georgetown. Yeah, you have 10 field experience hours. Important details about field experience hours, please read ASAP. I sent you guys an email today about this. I've clicked on it and here we go. All right, so they basically said when it comes to field experience hours, this is the expectation that I copy and paste that part of the email. We're reaching out to update you regarding the additional information we received from the state regarding field experience requirements for the semester. We're going to proceed with the following. Students will need to work through NTI instruction wherever possible. Students who were able to pre-record themselves giving lessons should send their videos in order to complete the field observations based on the recordings. We may be able to use NTI instructional documentation as observations. I think what I would use right now, because guys, we are working in uncharted times, would be if there are things that your district and your school will let you participate in, do it. Are there meetings occurring? Are there online meetings occurring? Can you listen in on those? In my district in Madison County, I bet we've done half a dozen conference calls that I've been in on. Can you be a fly on the wall and dial in and listen to it as well? Or maybe you're having a school online platform, a Zoom meeting, a Google Hangout or something like that. Can you participate in those things? Let your principal know that now, because we'll count them all. Number two, besides that would be documentation of you doing, if your district, like most of them are doing the NTI work, the non-traditional instruction. All right, document that communication with parents, with other staff members, with other with administration and things like that through emails. If you can record things, guys, I don't need it, but I would record it and keep it in case you do, to get those 10 hours. Are there things that you can help with? Like, again, I want to preface good social distancing. I'm sorry, I'm sure everybody's sick of hearing that phrase, but it's the truth if you read anything about it. But, are there things at your school that you can help with, answering the phone, to helping with preparation for breakfast and lunches? I know a lot of schools are doing things to send out breakfast and lunch out in the community and stuff like that. So yes, we're going to accept different things. At least put this way, I'm going to accept different examples of hours of things than maybe I typically would have during normal traditional times. So on these, yes, documenting communication with parents, administration, colleagues, helping the everybody's pitching in, helping type things at your school or in your district. I'm going to count those types of things. If you document them, get your principal to sign off on it. I'm also going to count things like, obviously any online meetings and stuff like that administration is meeting, whether you can meet with them in person or you can meet with them online or over the phone, or however your district and your school is doing those things. If you can be a part of those, that's what we're doing. So we're making the plane as we're flying it type thing right now. It sounds like Georgetown reached out to the state. So basically, guys, when they get this program approved, they had some mandatory fun type things they had to do. And one of those things they said they would do is students would get these field experience hours. So the way I read it is the state is saying, yes, we're in uncharted times, but we're still going to expect your all's program to fulfill that students get those hours. So I read this is we're trying to let you guys get a little more creative with those hours. So So do that the best that you can to get those 10 hours. You still have another, what, pretty close to a month until we have to turn it in. So, you know, when you do that, all right, up there on the top where the syllabus and stuff is, there is a field experience documentation form. All right, there it is. If you go up here to the top, you can click and actually download that. And there, I just need the date of each one, the description. Give me a sentence or two. Tell me what you did, and then have your principal sign off on each one of those. Um, hopefully, Nick, I know you asked specifically, but any other questions from anybody for the rest of the course? Um, basically, you have a couple items due every week. You still have your 10 field experience hours that we're giving you a little bit more latitude on, and then you have your anchor assessment. Again, the anchor assessment you'll be able to view here very soon. And I also want to preface, this reminded me of one thing under week 7, field experience documentation must be uploaded in live text and in Canvas. So obviously you're going to take that same form when you're done, scan it, upload the field experience hours here so I can give you your points, go to live text, upload it in there as well. That's where um, the Georgetown keeps a database of documentation for each of their courses. There's two things in live text. One, you upload in the field experience hours. Two, the other one is the dispositions one, where it says dispositions. You guys don't have to do anything for you. I will complete that on your behalf. That is basically just me conveying that, yes, you've attributed good professional courtesy. You've been timely on things. You've exercised good ethics, so on and so forth. Kind of one of those things of as I get to know you through these classes a little bit, I give a little snapshot of my dealings with you. No news is good news on those types of things. If there were any issues, one, I would be addressing them with you, and two, um, if administration got wind of any of that stuff, it wouldn't be a surprise to you. So, uh, okay, that's everything that I wanted to cover tonight. We will not meet anymore unless you specifically request it. So how would you do that? Well, contact your professor here at the top, has my email address. Shoot me an email. I can answer questions through your emails. I can shoot me an email, and we can find a time to set up a phone call if you'd like that works for both of us, or even an individual Zoom meeting if that's what's needed as well. I'm here to help you guys if you need help, but otherwise, I expect that you guys try to, can we email you the field hours that we are getting to make sure we are on the right track? Yeah, if that's what you would like, that would make you more comfortable. Yeah, I can email. Just remember, you're gonna have to put it in Canvas and in live text when you're done. But if you need verification to make sure everything looks okay, then yeah, guys, I'm gonna give you a lot more latitude just because we've had to get a little creative. But if you or anybody else needs to send me that, then please do so. All right, folks, I'm gonna stay behind for a minute or two in case anybody has any other questions. Otherwise, if you don't have any, you're free to go. Remember, I am an email away. We can set up a phone call, Zoom meeting, whatever you want. I'll make it happen. Look forward to working with you the rest of the semester. Take care of yourselves and your family, and have a good evening. Thank you. Wes, I'm not gonna put any under this circumstance. I'm not gonna put any cap on anything. Um, I'm gonna make a an executive decision, so to speak, and just say there's no cap on any certain area that you can have so many hours or can't. I think if you got 10 hours of observations, I would approve that right now, just because yeah, we're just in uncharted waters right now, and we're gonna need to provide you guys with some flexibility to get all this time in. Um, so to answer your question, I'm not gonna cap any certain amount of time in any certain area.